Hey there, and welcome back. It's James here, and in this video, we're going to move on from the string data type, and we're going to start talking about numbers in Python. And numbers really fall into two different data type categories. There's actually a third one that we're not going to talk about in this video. We're simply going to talk about integers and floats and the difference in those two data types. So an integer is a whole number in Python, and a float is a decimal point number. So let me show you the difference. I'm going to create a variable and call it age. I'm going to set it equal to 50. And I'm going to create a variable called birthdays. I'm going to set it equal to 5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple little math problem with age equals age plus birthdays, because we're trying to figure out how old this person would be after having 5 birthdays. And I'm going to print first the result. So they are years old. I'm going to use the format method that we learned about in one of the previous videos, and we're going to say age. Okay, so we'll print that. They're 55 years old. And I'm going to print age. Let's say age is a data type. And we'll also format this with type age. Okay, and we'll run that. I've got a syntax error, so let's fix that real quick. Where did I go wrong? I am missing a parentheses. We'll run that. All right, so age is a class int data type. All right, fair enough. Now let's change this. Let's say this person is 50 and a half years old, and they had 5 birthdays. And if we run this, you can see they are 55.5 years old. Age is a class float data type. And it's a float because 55.5 obviously has a decimal point. All right, so that's the difference in an integer and a float. Now inside of Python, we can use numbers to do mathematical operations. So for example, pretty standard stuff like multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And those are all pretty self-explanatory. You can go over to the documentation on Python and you can read up on those. But there's 2 operations I want to cover in this video that you may not be familiar with. The first one is called floor division. And let's go ahead and give an example of that now. So let's say that I want to divide 50.5 divided by 5. Okay, or let's just make this 50. Actually, we'll make it 52. Sorry to keep changing that. All right, and let's get rid of all this. And let's say that age, I don't even know what I want to name this. Let's just name it X for now, okay? X equals age divided by birthdays. And then let's print X. So if we run this, obviously we get an answer, 52 divided by 5 is 10.4. We know that's a float because it has a decimal point. But let's say that we don't want that decimal point. Let's say for whatever reason, we only want to retrieve a whole number. Maybe it's because we want this to be an integer. Maybe it's for another reason. Whatever it is, what we can do is, instead of using 1// I could put 2 forward slashes here. And this is called floor division. And what's happening is when I run this, Python is going to take everything that's left over. Okay, at 0.4, they're going to take that and just simply throw it away. And we're going to be left with just a whole number. So if we run this, obviously the answer is 10. Now you might be wondering, is this rounding up and down based on normal rounding rules? And the answer is no, it's not. So for example, if this was 54 divided by 5 and we did division, we would see that that equals 10.8. So normal rounding would make me say, oh, it's going to be worth 11. But if we use floor division, what we're going to find out is actually still 10. It just throws away everything after the decimal. All right, so that's how floor division works. Another thing we can do inside of Python is we can use something called the modulo operator. And the modulo operator works a little bit differently. It looks like this, a % sign. So we can say age modulo birthdays. If I print X, I get 4. Now, where is 4 coming from? Well, what's happening is the program is taking 54 divided by 5, and obviously 5 goes into 54 10 times. with a remainder of 4. So what this does, it actually gives me the remainder, okay? So I can say, for example, let's say y, just for, by the way, when you're naming your variables, you should not name your variables y and x and things like that. You need to be descriptive. I'm just doing it for this video so that I stop and think of a name for the variable and make you watch me do that. So y equals, I'm going to say the age divided by birthdays, and I'm going to use floor division, okay? So now I'm using both of these together, and I'm going to be able to do this. Blank goes into blank, blank times with a remainder of blank. We'll add the format method, and we will say, first one is birthdays. Second one is going to be age, because 5 goes into 54. And third one's going to be y. And then the last one will be x. And now, make sure I have the right number of parentheses here. Now if I run this, watch what happens. 5 goes into 54 10 times with a remainder of 4. So that's a really simple example of us using both floor division and also the modular operator along with our string formatting that we learned in some of the previous videos. All right, so again, if you'd like to learn more about numbers in Python, you can go over to the documentation. I will put a link down in the description of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up there. In the next video, I will start talking about some of the different array data types inside of Python. The first one, which is going to be a list. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to leave me a comment below. I really appreciate that. As always, this is James with LearnToCode.cc, and thanks for watching.